Hello, fellow TIBD members. I am making this video to help you in filling out the design competition call for entries. So this is for 2024, and I'm going to use last year's 2023 version of the call for entries as an example. Let's get started. Whenever you get the call for entries, you're going to get something similar to this. We might change the format for this year, but basically it's the same. We have the categories. We have 5, 6, 7 categories, and I'm gonna go over each one to kind of give you an idea what is required, what do you need to submit, how to format it, and how to submit it. Okay, so let's get started. You have to be a member in good standing in order to be able to compete in the competition. And so that's listed right there in the first paragraph. And all the entries are going to be submitted in a presentation form, presentation board format. And I'll go over that in a minute with some photographs. All entries need to be submitted by the deadline. And we don't have a date yet as of this video, but be on the lookout for your email from TIBD and it'll give you all the details. Okay, so there's several entry categories. Category 1 is built and photograph design entries. And then there's subcategories A, B, and C, each one with a different square foot category. So on the built and photograph design entries, let me show you what that's going to look like. Okay, I'm going to bring in the photograph here. So these are projects, obviously, that got built. And most of the pictures they're going to show are the actual photographs of the project that was built. And if I move over here, on the first page, you're seeing that the categories. But then on the second page is the detail of what you need to submit for each category. So for example, category 1, it needs to be a 24 by 36 vertical, please, paper. And you don't have to provide the board, it's just the printout. It can be on any type of paper media. It can be paper, it can be photograph paper, it can be sepia, a blueprint, whatever you want to submit, that is acceptable. But for this category, it is asking to include photographs, a site plan, and floor plans. And the floor plan has to be labeled with room names, room sizes, and overall footprint dimensions and the square footage. It also is asking for titles and details. And then you need to leave a space 4 by 6 inch in the bottom right of the page for TIBD use. So let's go over that. This is an example of that category. So at the very bottom corner on the right, you need to leave a space of 4 by 6 inches so we can put the label. But the format of your presentation board can be anything you want. It doesn't have to follow this format. It can be anything that you can think of, and I'll show you a couple examples, but it was asking for photographs. So that's what you're looking at. You got photographs of whatever you want to showcase. It doesn't have to be just exterior or just interior. You can mix and match. It's your presentation board, whatever you want to present in photographs, that's what you can do. It also is asking for site plans. And all this does not have to be to scale, okay? You can put a graphic scale, that would help out, but you don't have to print at 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, or 3/16, whatever. All we need to do is to make sure that this is readable. It can be as small or as large as you want it to be, but the judges need to be able to read the letters and the numbers. So in the site plan, you have to make sure that you take away all the project location, like the actual street name, just erase it or put, just street or avenue or whatever, but don't put the actual street name because you'll get 5 points off. The site plan has to be dimensioned, and it can just be the footprint, and it'll have the, side, back, and front dimensions. It needs some labels, and you can get as complicated as you want, but the more complicated, the more difficult it will be to actually read. It can be your standard site plan, or it can be a clean site plan. like a presentation site plan. As long as you have labels, text, and dimensions, you will be good. Make sure to have a north arrow. And then you have a requirement of floor plans. And also, these are not construction drawing floor plans, they're presentation plans. But it is asking, the only dimensions that is asking is for overall dimensions. So from front to back and left to right. That's the only dimensions that you need. But it is asking for room names and room sizes. So this is a good example of, what that is. You don't have to have furniture, but if you want to show it, that's fine too. Make sure to label first floor, second floor, or lower floor, upper floor, whatever you want. But you also, this one's very important, the calculations. The judges need to see what the square footage is of the floors and then total living area or total construction area, whatever you want to include. So this is one example of that category. All right, let's see another example of that same category 1. And as you can see, this is a totally different layout. And it has the photographs. And the photographs are labeled as to what room they are. But then it has really, really nice floor plans. And here's the tip. The more color you have, the more interesting it is to the judges. So that will help you. Instead of just black and white, if you can color it up, make it look really nice, that will definitely, gain points. So the rooms are labeled and you have the overall dimensions. So that's good. And then over here it's got the site plan. So, they did really nice job here, but also look, it's just got the generic street name. And this is a really nice presentation site plan where you have the boundaries and it's calling out the driveways and different colors, living area, outdoor areas, and the views. So, that's encouraged as well. But I do not see in this presentation board the square footages. So what happens with this one, even though it's beautiful layout and colors, because it didn't have the square foot calculations, they probably got 5 to 10 points off on this entry. So you have to make sure you read exactly everything that is asking for: photographs, site plan, floor plan, room names, sizes, dimensions, square footage, titles and details. The titles and details, the titles are floor plan, site plan, that's what it's talking about. Details, if you have any specific details that are important to a design, you can include those. But for the main part, it's just asking for photographs, site plan, and floor plans. That's what we need to include for that category. Okay, it's also asking to submit 4 copies on 8.5 by 11 paper of a brief description of the qualities you wish the judges to consider by your entry. Okay, so all it is just 1 page. And I would encourage you right here, instead of having this, that you put your entry like category 1-B, and then you go into your paragraph and just describe what the best qualities of the design or challenges or solutions that you did. Don't make it too long, because there's only so much time that the judge can read this. 2 to 3 paragraphs will be perfect. And then it's going to ask you to submit a flash drive containing 4 JPEG files of your choice. So from any of the entries, for example, this one, out of the drawings and photos that got submitted, you can submit 4, maximum of 4 JPEGs of whatever you want, a floor plan or just the photographs or whatever, but it needs to be included as part of the submission of your entry. And I would encourage you, some of the designers enter multiple entries in different categories. So what I would encourage you to do is to label your flash drive with the actual category name. So let's say this one designer entered 1 or multiple entries in every category. In your flash drive, category 1A, built 25 and under. And then under that, if you just have one project, just name it whatever you want. And then the 4 photographs will be right there, the 4 JPEGs. If you have multiples, like let's say in this one, then you would do, 3 subfolders of that category and just name them different, 1, 2, 3, and put your name on it, please, because that makes it a whole lot easier to track. So that's, your entry, and that's person's entry. But in your flash drive, it'll be the 4 JPEGs, and also include the description of the project on that same folder. Okay. So category 1 and 2 are built-in photograph. Those are the requirements for those 2 categories. The unbuilt projects, category 3, they're going to ask you for a little bit more. Okay, it can be any media as well. Paper, vellum, photograph paper, whatever you want. But it needs to be vertical, 24 by 36. You need to include elevations, side plan, floor plans with all the details that we covered before. So the only difference is the elevations. That is an addition requirement. So this is category 3. Let me show you an example. Okay, here it comes. So it's unbuilt project. It's asking for elevations. So you got 4 elevations around the house. It's got a side plan and the floor plans. And sometimes, in this particular example, the floor plans were too small to put actual names and sizes. So this got keyed labels, and then you got the room name and the room sizes there. So that's one way to do it when they don't fit in the floor plan. But if you have a much smaller house that you can fit all the text in each room, that would be ideal. You have your overall footprint dimensions. And then you have, let's see. This one's, here it is. The square footage calculation. I thought they missed it, but it's right here. So it's got every requirements, the site plan, elevation, floor plans, all the labels, and then the square foot requirements. And again, it just needs to be a presentation site plan. So you got the boundaries, you're showing driveways, the setbacks, overall footprint, dimensions. This happens to be black and white, but if you can do it in color, I would really encourage you to do that because it looks a lot nicer and it catches the judge's attention. So that's one example. Here's another example that has met most of the requirements, where you have the elevations and the floor plans and the site plan, and it's got all the labels. It's got the room names, all that works. It's got square footages, but they did not do it vertical. They formatted the presentation board as horizontal. That's a huge, point taker that you're gonna lose. So you're already at a disadvantage because you did it in the wrong format. It's not horizontal, it has to be vertical. And why does it need to be vertical? Because, let me show you this photograph. Because whenever we have the rooms where we showcase the presentation boards, we have limited space. And in order to fit all these, presentation boards, and it's usually more than 50, we need, as much wall space as possible. So if you have a horizontal presentation boards, that takes up a lot more room than vertical. So please format your presentation boards as vertical. And then it's got the same requirement as the brief description and the flash drive. Okay. The next category, 4 and 5. These are built and unbuilt designs. 4 and 5. It's commercial and multi-housing projects. Okay, so commercial, it can be anything. And there's no subcategories for that. It can be a restaurant, it can be an office building, it can be a tenant build out. So everything's going to get grouped in here. And sometimes I've heard that it's not fair, that, if somebody submits a small 1,500 square foot lease space retail shop, and then somebody submits a 20,000 square foot commercial project. Is there a disadvantage? Not necessarily, because you are being judged by what is required: photographs, elevations, site, floor plans. Okay, as long as you meet all these, you will get the proper points assigned to that entry. And once they totals up, 1,500 square foot could beat a 20,000 square foot project simply because the other one did not do all the required drawings that they're asking for. So just keep that in mind. The multi-housing projects, it has to be attached, like apartments or a duplex, fourplex. The units have to be attached. They cannot be individual, 4 individual homes and one property. Those are not multi-housing. They have to be attached, with party walls in between. So keep that in mind. If somebody submits 4 separate houses in one lot, they're going to be automatically disqualified for that category. So let's see. The same requirements as the others: photographs, elevations, site plans, and floor plans, and everything else, along with a flash drive. And then the Bob Jackson Artistic Presentation Award. Okay. These are, let's see what it says over here. Right here, category 5-6. Submit one copy of any graphic representation, whether it be one rendering, a drawing, a sketch, or a model, or simply a presentation board with several drawings. Whatever is you would show your client as a presentation, then that's what you can submit. So let me show you an idea or a sample of what that is. Here's one entry that got submitted last year. And there is no requirement. You have to have a site plan. You have to have floor plans. No, it's whatever you want to put on here. So in this particular entry, they wanted to do some really nice perspectives of the house and the floor plans. That's fine. That's all it's needed. But he got points taken off because he did a horizontal format. So when he goes up against another entry that actually did it on a vertical, then automatically this guy got more points than the other one because he did it on a vertical format. And this person also did just the nice perspective views and rendering and an interior view. It's whatever you as a designer want to convey. And sometimes we've received just one rendering, and that works as well. But here's the kicker: this category has to be a presentation done by the designer that is submitting it. It's not that the designer paid a rendering guy in China to do a really awesome rendering and then he submits it as his own. That does not count. It has to be something that you as the designer spend time on the computer doing the rendering on your own, whether it be by hand or by computer. But we are trusting you as a professional that you're submitting your work. That is the requirement. There is no way for us to really check if you paid somebody to do it for you. But, it's the honor system, and we're hoping that all of you can comply with that. And then the final category is working drawings. This is the actual construction drawing set that you would normally issue to your client for permitting and construction. But you have to make sure to erase all client information, location, and designer. So if you have on your title block sheet, all that information, the client's name, the address, and then your company logo, just erase all that. You leave it blank, or you're going to get a ton of points off on that. So it can be anything. It can be, a small addition. It can be a full house. Whatever you want to showcase on this category is working drawings, you're welcome to submit. It's also let's see, it does not say what size it needs to be. So I've seen 11 by 17 submissions, 24 by 36, 30 by 42. It's whatever you want to submit. And then you also have to do a flash drive containing JPEGs of the floor plans and elevations. So not of everything, just the floor plans and the elevations. Okay. So here it just gives you an idea. There's like 2 or 4, I don't remember, about 2 or 3 pages of categories that the judge goes through, and each line by line is 5 points. So if you met that line, you get 5 points. If the judge thinks that you didn't do a good job of the requirement of that particular item, he may say, "Oh, I'll give you 3 points, or I'll give you 1 point, or 3 or 2." So it all these are added at the very end, and whatever is the highest scoring on the entry, that's the one that gets the award. And then when you're done, you're gonna mail everything to well, this is my address here, my email address. If you have any questions, you can always email me, and email will be the best. Or you can, give me a call on my cell phone as well, and but email will be the best, and I can reply back with the answers of the questions. So here's the TIBD form, the design entry. And you need to fill this out, and it's going to be 1 page for each design entry that you are submitting. Okay, so you can't do multiples on this 1 page. It's 1 page per entry. And then, so on the first line, this is what you would type in. What category are you submitting? 1-B, 1-C, or whatever, 2, 3 category. And then it's going to ask you for it says here living area. So whether it be 1,500 square feet, 20,000 square feet, just put that number of your entry. It's not the category entry, 2,500, to 4,000. No, it's not that. It's your square footage of your project. Fill out your name, company, address, and everything else that's in here. And then this is an optional. You don't have to fill this out. But if you want to nominate somebody for the Legends of TIBD, you can go ahead and put their name on here. Okay. And then this is, as of last year, this was the price per entry, but I'm not sure what the price is going to be this year or future years, but just be on the lookout and make sure that you submit the correct price for entry. And then you'll have instructions as to where you can submit the entries to. Remember, these are just presentation sheets. It's not a board. You don't have to do the foam core board. It's just a sheet. You can roll it up, make sure you put it on a FedEx tube or something that will protect it, because it can get damaged, during shipping. And always, make sure that you submit it before the due date. It's always going to be on a Friday, and it's always going to be at 5 p.m. at the latest. Don't wait till the last day, please. It's going to be really difficult to receive all those on that one day. If you can do it 1 or 2 days before, that would be great. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to show you now just examples of presentation boards that were done in the past, just so you can see layout. Not necessarily the required drawings, but just so you can see how different people did different layouts. So there is no one format. It is up to the designer to do whatever they want, how to lay them out, what size. There's no scale requirement. The only thing on this one, it reminded me, this presentation board was absolutely beautiful, and the judges, really loved this project. But when you zoom in, all the drawings, none of the text was legible. The resolution of the print was really bad, that you couldn't read anything. You couldn't read the numbers, you couldn't read the text. So he got a bunch of points taken off, and which was unfortunate. But keep that in mind. Everything that you print Make sure that it's legible and clean and high resolution. Another format, really nice. Don't do this. You're not gonna win an award by doing this. Make sure it's vertical format. And this is the example of that floor plan that it was very difficult to read anything, and all the judges took a whole bunch of points off on that project. So anyway, that is my little presentation here. I hope this helps you in submitting your entries. You know, all of you have designed really great projects. I'm sure last year or previous years that you have not submitted to TIBD. You've seen the quality of projects that we're submitting just on the small sample of examples that I put on here. I am sure that all of you have projects that are award worthy. Don't be afraid to submit. You know, do the work, do the presentation drawing, submit, and you'll be surprised. You might win an award. So good luck, and we'll see you at the convention.